Up, everybody? It's J-Rock right here. Today I'm gonna be hitting you with another comic review. So if you like comic related content, you might want to think about hitting that subscribe button. So that way it keeps you updated on all my future content. Now today we're gonna be reviewing Catwoman. This series started, I believe, in 2019. It's written by Joelle Jones. Pencils are Joelle Jones, and colors are Laura Allread. So this is a killer team right here on this. So this story takes place after Tom King's Batman, where Catwoman and Bruce Wayne were gonna get married. Then he somehow broke off the wedding, and then she got her own spin-off series. I believe this series started in 2019 or late 2018. Don't quote me on that. I didn't do the research. I'll go back and check it. But let's talk about Joelle Jones a little. I heard a few interviews of her, how she was talking about, because in her art, you could tell she really has a sense of style, like a fashion style, if you know what I mean. And I think she was talking about how she started doing artwork for designing clothes, right? And you know those people, they can draw. They can draw some nice clothes. You gotta draw it first, get an idea of how it looks, and then make it come to reality, right? So she started off doing that, then somehow that led into drawing comics. So she's always excited to draw the costumes and the designs, like, oh, what wedding dress am I gonna draw? How am I gonna change the costume on this character? That type of stuff. So she really has a passion for art itself, just drawing and clothing designs and so forth, which that will make great for when she wants to try to create a new characters, new villains or whatever, right? So she started on Lady Killers, and it was set like it's like a timepiece. It's set in like in the 50s, and that was a great series. Think James Bond type of book, but with a woman as the main protagonist. This is very similar in tone, and of course the art style is gonna be the same. But just the tone of this is kind of what Catwoman is right here on this story. It's you definitely get that Joelle Jones style, much like she did in Lady Killers. It has her fingerprints all over it as far as the writing, the way the story goes, and so forth. And the art, I mean, you're gonna easily recognize her art is very distinct. It pops to me. It immediately grabs my attention when I see it. I know that's Joelle Jones. That's how you know an artist has his own style, when you just know that it's that artist just by looking at it, right? Laura Allred, as a colorist, she's also, I mean, she's kind of like a household name by now. Coloring is amazing. It definitely has it sets the tone, the way she colors things, sets the tone of how the book is gonna feel. Even though, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain because the story can be dark and gritty, and maybe even the pencils can, but then she just brings that brightness in her colors. They kind of balances it out, that you're not too disturbed by it. You're not like, oh man, like this is it's just too brutal, or it's too much, it's too sad, like it's too violent. She knows how to like liven it up somewhat. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. She just has a way with colors. I don't know how to explain it. Like on Mike Arvid's art, it's kind of hit and miss with me. Sometimes I kind of like it, sometimes I don't. Part of why I can kind of deal with it is Laura Arvid's colors. I think for me personally, I know taste is subjective, but for me, when I see Mike Arvid's art, I like the coloring a lot more than I like the pencils. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the story now, and we're gonna get into spoiler territory. This is the first trade. It's called Copycat, and it's issues 1 through 6. Catwoman at a casino gambling, doing her thing. She's a hustler, right? She knows how to cheat at gambling. She knows how to steal. It's how she gets by. She's not the type of girl that wants to work a 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, unfortunately, that type of mentality can lead her to break the law, do crime and so forth, because she thinks she's smarter than everybody. And sometimes she is. Sometimes she is, and she gets cocky with it, like, you know what, I got this. Like it's okay if it's against the law, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. So she's over here at this casino. Once she leaves the casino, the cops stop her. And as the cops are stopping her, saying, we know you're Catwoman and so forth. When they're doing this, you cut to another scene where they're chasing this Catwoman. So then it's like, how can she be Catwoman when they're chasing Catwoman on this other place, right? And this rooftop. So hence the name of the book is called Copycats. So I guess they have this whole organization of women that they're training to kind of be like Catwoman. I don't know what the end game with this is. If they're doing it just so that Selina Kyle could get all the blame, or what's going on. We get some major character development here. You get to know a lot about what makes Selina Kyle tick, what makes her the way she is, and we get to know this other the main villain here. It's another woman, which is good. I like it when the main character is a female, and if her main nemesis is also a female. Because when it's a guy, it's kind of like I kind of wish it was a another female. I feel it creates for a better story. But anyways, so we get to know this other villain, and we get to know about her and her life and the way she is. She's just like a fucked up person, and we get to know about Selina Kyle, how she kind of means good, but she's very bossy all the time. So sometimes when you have that mentality, like you just pack a big pair, you come off as if you're bad or you're a jerk, but really, if they actually pay attention to what you're doing, you're just righteous and you're just doing things for your own cause. You know what I mean? You're familiar with the character of Selina Kyle. She's very eccentric. She goes against the grain all the time. She's gonna go with what she believes in. That's the way she's always been. And I haven't read a lot of standalone stories of Selina Kyle, so maybe this stuff has been touched upon before. I'm not sure. But what I read it here, you could just jump into it, and I think you get more from it if you haven't read that much Catwoman stories, because this will all be new to you in case it has been told before. So we really on this story, we're dealing with a lot of broken people, people with issues, with their psyches. They don't operate like a normal person basically because they've been through shit in life already, so they're jaded already, right? And the stories does a good job of telling you that. So does the art. It's the way they do facial expressions and so forth. You kind of just see it in their faces. They've been through the mud. They've been through hell and back, and it's just adversity as humans is kind of what builds us. Our experiences we have in life is what molds us. The way we react to them is what makes us who we are, right? And this is a story that's pretty good at telling you that, like, Selina Kyle's been through some shit, and she's not full on bad, but she does do some bad stuff. But at heart, she's not a bad person. And this other lady, the one that the antagonist in the story, man, she's had her issues, and she's completely went sideways. She went the complete opposite. She just turned into like very evil, very manipulative, very type of step over everybody to get what I want mentality. Fuck over anybody I need to. So the main antagonist is this person. She's dating, I believe, who's somebody who's running for mayor. So this guy that's running for mayor, this is his wife, and she's old already, but she puts all kinds of makeup and she has all kinds of surgeries to look young and look pretty still for him. And we're talking about her story in the past, how she's dated other people. She dated this rich guy, murdered him. She married him, then killed him, kept his money. She's the grieving widow, right? Then she had kids with her next husband, I believe. So then now she's married to this guy that's running for mayor, and she's telling us a story about how she's done all this stuff, and that where she says that, oh, once I married him, with the fortune I had, he's a very smart guy. He doubled that fortune real quick. He knew how to invest it and work that money, right? So now that he's doubled up the money for her, she sees no use for him, so she's about to kill him right now too, right? And she explains how they created this new poison to kill people. So she injects them, and then she starts crying and pretending, oh, he just had some type of heart attack. So you really get to see right here the type of person she is. I mean, look at this panel, how she's just faking the funk, and it looks very realistic. Like you really think she's grieving and she's in pain. So we go to the funeral and so forth, and right there she reveals how she don't give a fuck. How she's just back to business as usual. What's the next thing in her plan or whatever, right? Now that we got to know, how dicey she is, we go to Selina Kyle, and it's telling us. I don't know if this happened back in the Batman issues or not, but she calls her sister, but I think they were raised in an orphanage together. So this girl, they went trick or treating back as kids. It shows how when they were kids, she was dressed as a cat, as Catwoman, and her friends were dressed up. And one of her friends was getting bullied by someone for candy, so she took out a gun on that person, told him to give back the candy and so forth, stop bullying them. And so this was to kind of set the tone that she's been like this since a child. She's always kind of rolled the dice and not worried if you're also putting your friends in danger. So in that way, she's selfish without knowing she's selfish. She thinks she's doing good. Uh, are done with this story. That same friend of hers, we cut to the future part. I guess this was in the Batman story. I'm not 100% sure. Where Black Mask gets a hold of them, of her friend and the husband of hers, and they're both just getting brutalized and tortured by the Black Mask. Man, this thing was insane right here. He was doing them dirty, like just torturing them and messing with them, right? I think the husband died, and the girl stayed like in some type of coma where she's so traumatized she doesn't speak anymore. She can barely chew on her own. So Selina Kyle feels bad about all this. She feels it's her fault because she brought this danger into their world, into their life, right? And she goes to visit her every day. So it shows that she's mourning about it and so forth. She doesn't just think about herself, but at the same time, they are in this situation because of her and her actions. So this was a very interesting story. It's pretty dark in my opinion. And if you're familiar with Joelle Jones's art, it's very gritty, very gruesome, a lot of violence in it. It's very street level as well. And Catwoman herself, so is Batman for that matter. They're very street level characters. They're not flying around lifting buildings or none of that stuff. So the fact that it's so grounded, it makes it feel that much more real and that much more fucked up in the world that they're in, right? So yeah, guys, this was if you like Lady Killers, this is gonna be right up your alley because it's just more of the same. If you were expecting something different, you might maybe be let off by it because it's kind of back to going back to the same well basically. But me personally, I loved every minute of it. Um, maybe down the road I will want to add different things to our arsenal. But right now, I'm perfectly happy keeping this tone going. I was digging it, and it really made you. I'm very character driven myself. I have to have a good character in the story. I have to be engaged with the characters. If I love the characters, I love the dialogue, what's going on between the interaction between the characters. The story can be very mediocre, and I'll still be happy. I'll still be reading along. And by the same token, if you have a story that maybe is really good, but the characters are lackluster, I might lose interest because I don't have a character to root for or a character that I'm invested in, right? And I'm definitely invested in these characters, and I was really like into wanting to know what else is happening in their lives. Okay, so we're gonna keep trucking along for sure on this one. We're gonna read more. Can't wait to see what happens next because at the end of this, he tells that her orphan sister, I'm not leaving you in this hospital. I'm taking you home with me because of her lifestyle. They found out she comes to visit her. So because of my lifestyle, you no longer are safe in this hospital. And even though this girl's in a coma, I like what they did here with the art as well. You see a little subtle gesture where she barely has smiles. So, considering in the situation she's in, that's a big gesture. She made enough movement where she actually kind of smiled. So, she's happy to go live with Selina Kyle. So we'll see what happens going forward. Hopefully, she snaps out of this coma sometime in the future. I would like to see where this character goes and see how she feels about the whole Black Mass situation and how she copes back with life, assuming she gets back to a normal life and she can function physically again, right? So yeah, guys, can't wait to see the next one. If you guys have read this, let me know what you thought about it. Also, let me know what you think about Lady Killers. And did you come to the same conclusion as me that this is more of the same? Not that it's a bad thing because I think it's a real good thing. Also, I would like to see maybe hopefully in the other future trades, maybe we get some of the maybe Robin or Batgirl or somebody in the mix, just because I kind of want to see how Joe Jones draws them and so forth. Okay, guys. like to thank you guys for reading along with me and taking. Okay, guys, so I'd like to thank you for taking some time out of your day to read along with me, and I hope I check you guys out next time.